What if I told you there's a country where entire villages look like Disney movie sets, where Mozart's music still echoes through Baroque palaces, and where every single lake reflects mountains so perfect they seem computer-generated? Welcome to Austria, where fairy tales aren't fiction, they're geography. I've discovered 15 destinations across Austria that will make you understand why this country inspired The Sound of Music, every Disney castle ever drawn, and countless fairy tales that shape childhood dreams worldwide. From lakeside villages so perfect, they've been replicated in China, to imperial palaces that make Versailles look modest, Austria is where human creativity meets alpine perfection. Over the next 10 minutes, I'll reveal the Austria that goes beyond Sound of Music tourism. These are places where Habsburg emperors built their most spectacular palaces, where classical composers created immortal masterpieces, where every mountain village looks like it was designed by romantic poets who believed perfection was possible. Get ready to discover Europe's most magical country. Number 15, Hallstatt, the village so impossibly beautiful that Disney used it as inspiration for Frozen, and China built an exact replica because they couldn't believe somewhere this perfect actually existed. This isn't just a village, it's proof that fairy tales are based on real Austrian geography. Nestled between a pristine alpine lake and towering mountains, Hallstatt has been continuously inhabited for 4,000 years thanks to ancient salt mines that made it one of Europe's wealthiest villages. The pastel-colored houses reflect perfectly in Lake Hallstatt, creating double beauty that photographers spend fortunes trying to capture. Walking Hallstatt's narrow streets feels like being inside a snow globe that came to life in the most beautiful way possible. Number 14, Salzburg, where Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was born, and where Baroque architecture creates a city so harmonious it looks like classical music transformed into buildings. This isn't just Mozart's hometown, it's where musical genius meets architectural perfection. The UNESCO World Heritage Old Town features Baroque churches, palaces, and squares that create perfect acoustic environments where Mozart's music still sounds exactly as intended. Mirabell Palace Gardens were featured in The Sound of Music, while Hohensalzburg Fortress offers views over a city that looks like it was composed by Mozart himself. Walking Salzburg feels like being inside a symphony where every building plays its perfect part. Number 13, Schönbrunn Palace in Vienna, where Habsburg emperors created a summer residence so spectacular that it rivals Versailles and contains 1,441 rooms of pure imperial luxury. This isn't just a palace, it's where European power dressed up in its most beautiful clothes. Built to outshine Versailles, Schönbrunn features Baroque gardens that stretch to the horizon, a gloriette that offers panoramic views over Vienna, and the world's oldest zoo still in operation. Mozart performed his first concert here at age 6, while Napoleon used it as his headquarters when he conquered Vienna. Touring Schönbrunn feels like being temporary royalty in a palace where European history was written in gold and marble. Number 12, Innsbruck, where a Renaissance city sits in a valley surrounded by 2,000-meter peaks, creating the only place on Earth where you can have morning coffee in Baroque cafes and afternoon skiing on Olympic slopes. This is urban sophistication with alpine adrenaline. The famous Golden Roof was built by Emperor Maximilian IV to show off Habsburg wealth, while modern Olympic facilities designed by Zaha Hadid prove that Innsbruck continues pushing architectural boundaries. The Nordkette cable car takes you from city center to 2,000 meters altitude in 20 minutes, offering the most dramatic urban to alpine transition in Europe. Living in Innsbruck feels like having the best of Renaissance culture and Olympic adventure in your backyard. Number 11, Melk Abbey, where Benedictine monks created the most spectacular Baroque monastery in Europe, rising like a golden crown above the Danube River. This isn't just a religious building, it's where faith commissioned the most beautiful architecture human hands could create. Founded in 1089, the abbey contains a library with 100,000 ancient books and manuscripts that preserve 1,000 years of European knowledge, while the Baroque church's gold interior creates an atmosphere so heavenly that visitors whisper involuntarily. The abbey overlooks the Wachau Valley's terraced vineyards that produce some of Austria's finest wines. Visiting Melk feels like discovering heaven's own architectural department. Number 10, Dachstein Ice Cave, where massive underground chambers filled with eternal ice create a cathedral carved by glaciers over millions of years. This isn't just a cave. It's like discovering Elsa's palace from frozen, built by nature itself. The ice formations inside remain frozen year-round, creating a natural ice palace with chambers so large they could house entire cathedrals. The Dachstein Skywalk features the Five Fingers viewing platform that extends over a 400-meter drop, offering views across the Alps that make you feel like you're floating in the sky. Exploring Dachstein feels like discovering what Earth looked like during the Ice Age, when giants built underground palaces from eternal ice. Number 9. Wachau Valley, where terraced vineyards along the Danube River create a UNESCO World Heritage landscape that produces some of Europe's finest white wines. This valley proves that when Romans choose where to plant vineyards, they choose paradise. The valley stretches 40 kilometers along the Danube, featuring medieval castle ruins, baroque monasteries, and apricot orchards that bloom into pink clouds every spring. Dernstein's blue Baroque church tower rises like a fairy tale landmark above vineyards that have produced wine for 2,000 years. River cruising through Wachau feels like floating through a living wine label, where every view deserves to be on a bottle of the world's most expensive vintage. Number 8. Bad Ischl, where Emperor Franz Joseph built his summer residence, and where the Habsburg court transformed a simple spa town into the most elegant resort in the Austrian Empire. This is where European royalty came to relax in style. The Kaiser Villa was where Franz Joseph and Empress Sisi spent their happiest summers, while the town's thermal springs have attracted European nobility for over 150 years. Bad Ischl is also where Franz Lehár composed his famous operettas, making it the birthplace of Viennese operetta tradition. The town sits in the heart of the Salzkammergut Lake District, surrounded by 76 lakes that reflect alpine peaks like natural mirrors. Visiting Bad Ischl feels like joining the Habsburg summer court, where elegance and relaxation reach their aristocratic peak. Number 7. Graz, where the best preserved Renaissance old town in Central Europe creates a UNESCO World Heritage Site that looks like it was designed by Italian masters who perfected their craft in Austrian precision. This is Renaissance architecture at its most refined. The Landhaus courtyard represents the pinnacle of Renaissance architecture north of the Alps, while the Schlossberg clock tower has been Graz's landmark for over 500 years. As European capital of culture, Graz perfectly blends historic architecture with cutting-edge modern design like the blob-shaped Kunsthaus. The city is also Austria's culinary capital, where traditional recipes meet innovative cuisine in restaurants housed in Renaissance palaces. Exploring Graz feels like discovering what happens when Renaissance masters are given unlimited budgets and perfect artistic freedom. Number 6. Zellum, where a medieval town sits beside a pristine alpine lake surrounded by 3,000-meter peaks, creating the most perfectly proportioned mountain lake scenery in Europe. This is what happens when nature designs the ideal alpine vacation destination. The town dates from medieval times, but offers world-class skiing on the Kitzsteinhorn Glacier and summer swimming in a lake, so clear you can see 10 meters to the bottom. The medieval church sits on a peninsula that extends into the lake, creating the most photographed church setting in Austria. Year-round glacier skiing means you can ski in the morning and swim in an alpine lake in the afternoon, something possible nowhere else in Europe. Number 5. Hohenwerfen Castle, a medieval fortress perched high above the Salzburg Valley, where centuries of history, dramatic mountain views, and legendary falconry shows create one of Austria's most thrilling destinations. This isn't just a castle. It's a living time machine where knights, emperors, and adventurers once walked these walls. This isn't just a fortress. It's Austria's ultimate stronghold of legends and adventure. Built in the 11th century, Hohenwerfen Castle has guarded the valley for nearly 1,000 years. Its towers and ramparts offer breathtaking views of the Alps, while daily falconry demonstrations bring medieval traditions to life. The castle has starred in movies and inspired countless legends, making every visit feel like stepping into a real-life epic. Exploring Hohenwerfen is like traveling back in time to an age of knights, emperors, and daring escapes. Number 4. Alpbach, officially voted Austria's most beautiful village, where traditional wooden chalets covered in flowers create a village so perfect it looks like it was designed by someone who wanted to create the ultimate Austrian fairy tale. Every building looks like a postcard. Every chalet must follow traditional architectural guidelines, ensuring that modern buildings blend seamlessly with structures that are centuries old. Window boxes overflow with red geraniums, creating a village-wide garden that blooms from spring through fall. The village sits in a valley surrounded by gentle alpine peaks, perfect for hiking and skiing, making it an active paradise wrapped in the most beautiful traditional architecture. Living in Embark feels like being inside a living museum, where every resident is committed to maintaining perfection. Number 3. Gossasee, where an alpine lake creates perfect mirror reflections of the Dachstein mountain range, producing some of the most photographed lake scenery in Austria. This lake doesn't just reflect mountains, it doubles the beauty of an already perfect landscape. The lake sits at 933 meters altitude, surrounded by hiking trails that offer constantly changing perspectives on the mirror reflections. During sunrise and sunset, the Dachstein massif glows pink and gold, creating reflections so perfect that photographers can't tell which image is the mountain and which is the reflection. The traditional Gossasee Alm serves authentic Austrian cuisine with panoramic lake views that make every meal feel like dining in paradise. Number 2. Vienna, where the Habsburg Empire created the most culturally sophisticated capital in Europe, and where imperial palaces, world-class museums, and legendary coffee houses maintain an atmosphere of refined elegance that no other city can match. Vienna isn't just a capital, it's civilization at its most cultured peak. The city that was home to Mozart, Beethoven, Schubert, and Freud continues its cultural leadership with the Vienna State Opera, world-class museums, and coffeehouse culture that UNESCO recognized as intangible cultural heritage. The Ringstrasse Boulevard showcases imperial architecture at its most magnificent, while Sacratorti and Viennese coffee culture create daily rituals of sophisticated pleasure. Living in Vienna feels like being a permanent guest at European civilization's most elegant dinner party. And number 1. Neusiedler See, Austria's largest lake and the only steppe lake in Central Europe, where unique microclimates support an ecosystem so rare that UNESCO declared it a World Heritage Site. This is where natural beauty meets ecological wonder in perfect harmony. The lake's shallow waters and surrounding reed beds create a unique ecosystem that supports over 300 bird species. Traditional reed architecture creates buildings that blend seamlessly with the natural environment, while cycling routes connect villages that have lived in harmony with nature for over 2,000 years. Experiencing Neusiedler See feels like discovering what happens when nature and human culture achieve perfect ecological and aesthetic balance. From fairy tale villages that inspire Disney movies to imperial palaces that rival Versailles, from alpine lakes that create perfect mirror worlds to underground ice cathedrals carved by glaciers. Austria isn't just a travel destination, it's where every childhood fairy tale fantasy was based on real geography. What makes Austria absolutely magical is how it preserves fairy tale beauty while maintaining world-class cultural sophistication. You can tour Habsburg palaces in the morning, attend Mozart concerts in baroque halls in the afternoon, and sleep in alpine villages so perfect they look like movie sets, all while experiencing Austrian Gemütlichkeit that makes every visitor feel like honored royalty. Now, here's my fairy tale challenge for you. If this video convinced you that Austria is where dreams become geography, prove it with your magical heart. Drop if you want to explore those imperial palaces, if you're ready for that Mozart cultural journey, or if you want to discover those impossible alpine villages. Let's see which Austrian fairy tale calls to your romantic soul. But here's my imperial promise. If this video helps us reach 100,000 subscribers, I'll create the ultimate Austria fairy tale route covering every imperial palace, every alpine paradise, every musical heritage site. Plus, I'll reveal the secret locations where locals celebrate traditional festivals that make the sound of music look like a documentary. Hit subscribe and let's discover Austria's most magical secrets together. And if you're enchanted by Austria's fairy tale perfection, wait until next week when we explore Switzerland, where chocolate villages nestle beneath the Matterhorn, where luxury trains climb impossible mountain railways, and where every alpine meadow looks like it was designed by nature's most perfectionist landscape architect. Until then, keep believing that fairy tales have real addresses, keep seeking magic in mountain reflections, and I'll see you in the next incredible adventure. Auf Wiedersehen, magical travelers.